was the kind of night that made the highway stretch on forever, the kind of dark that swallowed everything whole. The wind howled through the trees lining the roadside, and the moon was hidden behind a thick veil of clouds, leaving the world below in a shroud of blackness. Jessica had been driving for hours, the hum of her car tires the only sound keeping her company. She was on her way back from a weekend getaway, heading down the same lonely stretch of highway that cut through the heart of the Appalachian Mountains. It was late, far too late to be on a deserted road, but she didn't mind. The isolation felt comforting. That is, until she saw the lights. At first, it was just a flicker in the rearview mirror, barely noticeable. But then it grew closer. Too close. Jessica's grip tightened on the steering wheel. The headlights were blinding, the vehicle tailing her too steadily for comfort. She sped up, thinking that perhaps the other driver would pass, but the car stayed with her. The thrum of tension in her chest grew as the miles dragged on. She tried to tell herself it was nothing, that she was just being paranoid. But then the car pulled up alongside hers. Through the window, Jessica could see a man, a thin, gaunt figure with wild eyes, his face pale beneath a dark hood. He smiled, but it was a cruel, twisted grin that sent an icy chill crawling up her spine. He gave her a nod, as if he were offering some kind of greeting. Without thinking, Jessica slammed on the accelerator, speeding up once more. Her pulse raced as the sound of the other car's engine roared beside her. She was no longer alone on the road. The man in the other car seemed to enjoy the chase, pulling ahead and then slowing down, teasing her like a predator toying with its prey. She could hear his laughter, faint but distinct, carried by the wind through the cracked window. Her heart was pounding so loudly now that it drowned out the rest of the world. Then as she rounded a curve, her headlights illuminated something ahead, something that made her freeze in terror. There, in the middle of the road, was a body, a woman. She was lying motionless, her arms spread wide like she had been flung there, her clothes torn and stained with dark splotches. Jessica slammed on the brakes, skidding to a stop just inches from the lifeless figure. The car behind her stopped too. The man in the other car stepped out slowly, his long coat flapping in the wind. His eyes were locked on Jessica as he approached, his grin widening. "You can't escape him," the man said, his voice low and cold. "Not now." Jessica's breath caught in her throat. She tried to drive off, but her car sputtered. It was dead,